There's another promise that is deeply important to me, and I know it is deeply important to you. We are going to put our coal miners back to work.
There's Donald Trump claiming that coal jobs would be coming back to America, but in reality, one of the major coal companies has just filed for bankruptcy. It's known as Black Jewel, again, one of the largest coal mining companies in the United States. They actually closed their mines, much to the shock and surprise of their employees who were not notified about it. In fact, they didn't even expect their last paychecks to bounce, but they did. In fact, Missy Cole, whose husband worked at Black Jewel for 3 years, said, quote, "We have absolutely no access to our bank accounts. We cannot even touch his 401k to withdraw money to survive on without the signature of Black Jewel Mining CEO or his personnel." Now, what happened was since the checks bounced, the banks shut down the bank accounts. So these workers have been completely screwed over. And one of the ways that these companies file for bankruptcy, or one of the reasons why they file for bankruptcy, is so they don't have to worry about paying the employees who actually worked and earned a paycheck and deserve to get paid.
So guys, I want to make an important distinction here. This is not, hey, the company's bankrupt, so we're gonna have to close down and we can't keep on having you work here, right? That happens all the time, unfortunately. In fact, to further buttress what Anna was saying, according to The Guardian, this is the third large US coal company to declare bankruptcy since May of 2019. So just a couple of months ago. So they're going out of business at a record pace. But this, when the checks bounce, that's something different. That means I'm not paying you for the work you've already done.
Exactly, yeah.
And the check that you were relying on, that your mortgages, that you were gonna use for your mortgage and all these other things. One of the families that The Guardian talked to got stuck on a vacation, the Dolly World. And they literally didn't have enough money to get gas to go back. I don't know what they did, but I mean, that's the kind, and they can't get money because the checks are bouncing. So they're totally screwed. And wait till you hear about the CEO. We'll get to him in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get to the CEO in a little bit. But I really want to emphasize and drive home the most important point here, which is there was a promise during the 2016 campaign from one specific candidate, and this individual exploited a populist message for his own political agenda, and then turned around and abandoned the very people who continue to support him. And look, this is not, oh, we just want to attack Trump. I mean, I do want to attack Trump because he lied, but he tapped into something that people care deeply about, which was their own financial situation and the reality of the economy for the average American. And so while he capitalized off of that for his political agenda, Democrats didn't even mention it at all, with the exception of Bernie Sanders, of course. Now, with that said, I just want to give you a quick reminder of the promises that Donald Trump gave to the individuals who work in the coal industry.
They have not been treated well, but they're going to be treated well now. Clean coal, right? Clean coal. I have already eliminated a devastating anti-coal regulation, and that is just the beginning. You saw that. We've got a lot of thank yous from a lot of great people that work very hard and want to keep working. A lot of people are going to be put back to work. A lot of coal miners are going back to work. As we speak, we are preparing new executive actions to save our coal industry and to save our wonderful coal miners from continuing to be put out of work. The miners are coming back.
The miners are not coming back. Let me just repeat a point that Cenk made earlier. 8 coal companies, major coal companies, have shut down since 2015, and they're continuing to shut down at a record pace.
Yeah, so 3 in just the last couple of months. 30,000 coal jobs have been lost over the last decade. Obviously, that's both under Obama and Donald Trump. There's only 53,000 coal miners left in the whole country. That is a fraction of the amount of people hired by the solar energy companies. So now solar energy and wind energy, much larger than coal in America. But there's almost no romantic talk of solar energy jobs. The reason that Trump emphasized coal so much is not because it affected that many people, but because it gives you a nostalgia for the old days when we had steel manufacturing in this country and coal mines, and it brings you back to the 1950s and 60s. It makes you think about making America great again. All of that kind of ambiance that he and aura that he wanted to create for his voters. But as always, it's just marketing with Donald Trump. And Donald Trump was a disaster in actually building things. As we've told you on numerous occasions, 6 different companies went bankrupt for Donald Trump. He doesn't know how to run a company if his life depended on it. The main way that he now makes money, or before he became president, was he licenses out his name to put on buildings. He doesn't actually build the buildings. Nobody will give him a loan for that because he's so incompetent at it. So it's marketing. If you want to be fair to him, say he's good at marketing. And he, of course, made money from his TV show, also marketing. So all this talk of bringing back the coal mining jobs was marketing, but of course, false marketing. It was a lie sold to you. And now the coal jobs are disappearing just as we had anticipated, unfortunately. The good news is we're adding a lot of jobs in new energy, but nobody, again, the Democrats fall flat and don't brag about, hey, listen, we told you new energy was gonna, renewable energy was gonna bring in more jobs. They never make their own case. I mean, and for the Democrats, you don't have to lie like Trump. You don't have to do false marketing, but can you actually fight for the things we believe in for once in your life? Can you make your own case and do positive marketing for that? Especially because you're right.
And look, to be fair, Hillary Clinton's messaging on this issue was, we're gonna put you back in school, we're gonna give you training so you can, transition from coal jobs to renewable energy jobs. Now, in theory, that's a great plan, but her messaging wasn't there. Because if you are a father taking care of a family of 4, right? And you're worried about your well-being and your financial stability, the last thing you want to hear from a candidate is, oh, we're gonna send you back to training. No, okay, but what's the rest of that message? Okay, are you going to subsidize that family while the head of the household is getting the training necessary to work in renewable energy? I mean, I just felt like her plan wasn't really hashed out. And so this is a huge warning for Democrats running right now. This is a real issue. And it's not just when it comes to the coal industry, it has to do with so many other manufacturing jobs that are being lost to automation, that are being lost to globalization, if you want to talk about jobs being shipped abroad. But one other thing I wanted to just quickly mention is one of the first things that Trump did was he decided to increase taxes on solar panels that were being imported from China. So he took an extra step, first thing, as soon as he was elected, to make it increasingly difficult to develop renewable energy here in the United States.
So this is not free markets, by the way. This is crony capitalism. So I'll explain that real quick, and then I'll go to the excesses of the CEO while he was firing all these people. So when the good news is that the cost of creating solar energy and wind energy is going down significantly. 26% lower cost now for solar energy, 14% lower cost for wind energy. And if you do the Green New Deal, it could create millions of jobs. 53,000 still left in coal. Forget that. We're going to create a lot more jobs because it's not just the jobs going into solar and wind. It's also rebuilding the energy infrastructure of this country. So like we did during Eisenhower, building the highways and the bridges, you're going to do that with the energy infrastructure and create an unbelievable amount of jobs. And so there is a way to fix this, and it is a progressive plan so that we'll have more jobs, not less jobs. And so understand the future could be bright, but we have to put in the right policies into place. What do we have now? We have oil companies and gas companies getting $20 billion in subsidies every single year. Wait, they're the most profitable, forget coal, oil and gas are the most profitable companies in the world. Why are American taxpayers giving them $20 billion on top? That doesn't make any sense at all, unless you think about the bribery.
Right, exactly.
The Exxon Mobils and all those companies, they bribe politicians, and they're legal bribes now. They're called campaign contributions, and the politicians give them $20 billion in return. If you continue private financing of elections, they will only work for private interests and not you guys and not your jobs. Now that leads me to the CEO. So in this case, his name is Jeff Hoops.
Yes.
You want to give some details, Anna?
I do. So keep in mind, all of these coal workers just got screwed over. Their checks bounced for the job that they already did. And according to The Guardian, Jeff Hoops, who's the former CEO, resigned as a condition for a $5 million emergency loan, though his multi-million-dollar plans to build a resort in West Virginia will reportedly not be impacted by the bankruptcy. In a letter to workers, Hoops claimed, quote, "No one is hurting more than me as a result of the bankruptcy."
No, don't say that, man. That is unreal. So look, sometimes people get really mad at CEOs for making way more than the average worker, and that makes a lot of sense. And that number has gone up dramatically over the last 40 years. But at least if you're at a successful company, you could say, hey, you know what? His success and the executive team's success led to the success of the rest of the company and the employees, et cetera. When you're at a failing company, that argument doesn't hold any water at all. And this company not only is so failing that they declared bankruptcy, but in order to get the $5 million loan, the bank said, not the employees, the bank said, this CEO is such a miserable failure, we will not give you the emergency loan unless you fire him because he will just run it into the ground, okay? So that's the bank saying that. That's how bad Jeff Hoops was at his job. And meanwhile, though, he's got enough money, according to some, that adventure park or whatever, a resort that he's planning to build in West Virginia is $30 million. And then for him on top of that, while he's got enough money to build a multi-million-dollar resort in West Virginia, to say, no one is hurting more than me. You son of a bitch, you bounced their checks. You didn't pay them for the work they already did. They don't know how to get home in some of their cases. They're all worried about their mortgages. Their families could be absolutely devastated. And you go, no one is hurt more than me. I mean, I might have to even delay some of my multi-million-dollar plans. This is how clueless CEOs are, because they've become inoculated from democracy. In the old days, they'd be a little afraid of, hey, the government is gonna hold you accountable if you do these kind of things. Now they're like, what are you talking about? The government works for me. I bribed them earlier. All those sons of bitches work for me. Republicans, Democrats, in West Virginia, it largely doesn't matter, although there's some new kick-ass Democrats in West Virginia. But under the old system, I just buy them all. And so there's never gonna be any accountability for any executive. The only one who has to pay a price are the actual workers. And that's how this corrupt system works. Thanks for watching this free clip of the Young Turks. Don't forget to become a TYT member today. For more exclusive content, join now at tyt.com/join.